Hey, it's voice actor Kelly Wilson. On this week's episode of Real Talk, perfection is slow. Got a question for me? Email me your question and maybe I can cover it here on the podcast. Kelly@kellywilsonvo.com. Love to do so. All right, let's do this thing. Perfection is slow. There's a Dr. Seuss book called The Flipbook. My kid loves it when I do the slow feet thing. So that's what I think of now when I think of perfection. It's a slow grind, sludge, trudge through mud, you know? So last week's episode, I talked about how I get anxious before I do directed sessions still, and all the prep work that goes into it to be ready for my clients, and really also reduce my anxiety, mostly to help my clients, because a well-prepared voice actor is a well-paid voice actor and a well-worth-it voice actor, you know? And this anxiety thing, not really new to me. I mean, I've always been an anxious person, overthinker. That's just my personality. I'm just trying to use it to the best of my abilities and take what some may think of as something bad and turn it into a positive, you know? So before I actually even started being a voice actor, I was just thinking about it. And first I did so much research on everything. Equipment, performance, marketing, sales, mindset, everything, all the things, which was all great information. But I never took any action. And action leads to feedback. Feedback leads to learning. Action can be slower, sure, but it's not slow, and action is not inaction. Action is action. If you're doing, you're learning. And learning is good. I encourage you to do something. Start something. Start small if you want, but do something. I think back in the day for me, it started with starting to build the studio. Maybe it's just me, but as you build it, you realize, I need to change that, or tweak this, or, I should have put that thing here, there. And then, you move it. It's almost like a puzzle, I guess. If I wouldn't have started building the studio, I never would have tested, I never would have heard it, and I never would have been able to sit inside this sweet padded room I'm in right now. And finally, I started with a booth that my husband actually built for me when he was my boyfriend. Yeah, that's why I married him. And now I actually am sitting in a prefab booth that I purchased. I never would have gotten here if I wouldn't have started. Another example. So the first time I ever worked with a voiceover coach, I learned more during that 50-minute to 1-hour session, that class, than I did an entire year of researching voiceover. That's how fast, boom, my performance knowledge increased in 1 hour. So between last week's podcast and I've been listening to an audiobook because I voiced 2 audiobooks, which is plenty, more than enough, never doing it again. But I really do enjoy listening to a good quality audiobook. And I'm listening to Mel Robbins' book, The 5-Second Rule. And I've checked out her TED Talks before, but I've never listened to the book. So I'm doing that. And essentially your brain talks you out of stuff in order to protect you. Anytime you have that gut feeling from, your inner being, your soul, or whatever you want to call it, the book is basically saying count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and boom, take action. Which will stop your brain from talking you out of the thing that you're meant to do. And I've been toying around with this concept, and I do like to listen to audiobooks twice just because I'm usually multitasking on, everything in the world while my kid is hitting me over the head or something. So I'm going to listen to it again, but I've been toying with this concept, and so far it's been working really well for me, and I highly recommend check out Mel Robbins' book, The 5-Second Rule, or just watch the TED Talk and do it. It really is that simple, so it's cool. Anyways, back to my voiceover career. So once I started taking action in my voiceover career, the snowball effect thing started happening. The results just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And however, 2020 really kicked my bum, as I know kicked many bums. I found myself back in that analysis paralysis way of thinking. Hey, my first global pandemic, I get it, I'm only a human being. But before 2020, I was usually in this less thinking, more action type thing. I feel as though I'm coming out of it. Hey, I did some great things this past year. I'm doing some great things this year. But of course, if you're like me, there can always be more. I was thankful. I've worked with some great people and, not perfect. Why? Because perfect is slow. If I think about it, I was trying to be super perfect. Once 2020 hit, and I'm starting to feel myself thaw out and unfreeze, and I'm starting to move again. I'm starting to take action more and more. And I like that. That's good for me. That's been my thing. And, stopping and pausing, that's good too, right? You just don't want to sit in any one thing for far too long. So whatever you're thinking, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go do the thing, man, whatever it is. And then get up and do it again and again and again and again. Because truly the only reason that I am successful, and there's people who are more successful than I, and I want to be even more successful than I am now, but the only reason I'm successful is because I kept messing up, falling down, dusting myself off, and getting up and doing it again and again and again. And truly, that's it. I mean, I think I have some natural talent, hey-o. Just kept getting back up and trying. And it wasn't perfect. And I am a straight-up perfectionist. Those traits help. They're helpful sometimes. They're helpful when I'm editing a medical e-learning. But to actually, do this podcast, write this podcast, record it, upload it, just get her done, dude. Perfection is slow, and I get stuck in it all the time, too. But I hope you will unfreeze like I am, or at least trying to, and go do that thing, or at least start that thing that you want to do, that you're afraid to do, but you were born to do. Why not, man? Why not you? All right, I hope you go do it. Hey, if you hire voice actors, check out my demos, kellywilsonvo.com. What voiceover questions do you have? I'd love to cover them on the show. So email me, kelly@kellywilsonvo.com. Ratings and reviews are really appreciated. They help me out a lot. Hook up the stars. Don't forget to share out this podcast with someone who will actually enjoy it. So, if you've got a voice actor friend or someone who hires voice actors, share this podcast with them. It will give you a reason to reach out to that prospect. Hey-o, I'm all about that. No shame in that game. If you need more voice actors for your roster, download my freebie. I got friends! 5 fantastic voice actors for your roster. You can do that. kellywilsonvo.com/subscribe, and I'll remind you you'll subscribe to the podcast and my email. Check out the podcasts weekly, everywhere, or direct, anchor.fm/kellywilsonvo. Thank you, and go start the thing that you want to do. Just start it. Anything. Plan it, but then you got to do an action too. Planning is important, but the action. All right, hope you go do it. Later. Bye.